Earlier in this course, you saw that within our customer JPA data access service, we did override all of these methods from this customer DAO interface, and we have this instance variable right here called customer repository, which is this interface right here that extends JPA repository, and we pass customer because this is the entity, and then integer, this is the identifier data type for customer. If we look into customer, so customer here, it's a JPA entity right here. So we say at entity, we specify annotations in here, the ID, the same with columns and whatnot, and then this class right here gets mapped into our database. So you've seen this before. Now, within customer data access service in here, if you look into this class, we don't have much to test in here, and later I'll show you basically mocks, how to test this with mocks. But if you look here, what we are doing is we are simply calling the method from our repository and then calling the corresponding method based on the method that we have defined. So select customer by ID, it's find by ID. Insert customer, from the repository we call save. Exist customer with email. Here we basically have this method that we created ourselves, exists customer by email. And basically for every single method that we have in here, we are not doing much. So here we're not doing much. Now, when it comes to test classes like this, specifically when we are invoking the repository right here, we don't have much to test. And the reason for that is because if you look into this repository in here, so this repository, so here, interface customer repository extends JPA repository. Now, all of these methods, so if I go back here, so delete by ID, and in fact, if I just say customer repository dot, so have a look, find all, save, find all with a sort, delete, get reference, save all, like these methods we didn't write ourselves. We didn't write ourselves. So this is actually given to us. Therefore, we don't have to test these methods. But still, I'm going to show you how to basically get a test class up and running so that you see the process of it. And I'll tell you in what scenarios you actually have to test. Now, for this class in specific, we have to test it using mocks, and you'll see how to do that later. But for now, I just want to show you how to test the DAO layers, and when we learn about mocks, I'll show you exactly how to test this customer JPA data access service. So if we don't have to test this class now, what do we test? Well, we need to test this customer repository in here. Now, sometimes we actually have, custom queries that we write, which are not given by default. So for example, this one exists customer by email, exists customer by ID. So this is not given to us. And if we have even more complex queries, we need to make sure that indeed they do work. So what we need to test is this interface right here. So this repository, when we have methods which we add in, i.e. any other method apart from the default ones. And when I mean default ones, if I show you again, so if I go to JPA repository, so have a look, flush, save and flush, and if I open up structure, you can see all the methods in here. And if I click on the inherited, you can see all the other methods. So save all, find by ID, count, delete. So we don't have to test none of this. So this is actually given to us. So what we have to test instead is any new method. So let me just remove this and here as well. So any new method that we add into our interface, and more specifically when they are complex. In that case, we do have to test the repository. Next, let me go ahead and show you how to create a test class for this repository and all the bits and bobs that we need.